is one of those books that you pick up and you have to wait for the payoff, and that's okay. I am someone who can keep going in the face of not liking the first however much of a book, and I knew that I wanted to keep going with this one because it sounded so interesting. When you first pick this book up, it's a lot of like family dynamic, and that's not what I was anticipating because I was expecting kind of a religious, discussion when it comes to this story. And we get there eventually. So let it play out. But at some point you will be fully immersed in like 13th century Belgium. And that's where we are for this book. And our main character, Elise, has decided to run away from home because she does not want to get married, and she devotes herself to God. And by doing this, she joins the Franciscan order, and she's one of the only women, or is the only woman, at least in her town, to have ever done this. And it is quite scandalous, actually. And they don't know where to put her, actually, because she can't possibly be in the same, like, house or building as the men. That could never happen. And so Elise finds herself in a unique position where she is not a nun. She's devoted herself to Christ, and yet she can't go to a convent. She can't stay with the men, and so they put her in what is called the Berghain, I think is how you say it. I'm so sorry if I didn't. I don't know what the captions are going to say because it's not English. Begijnhof, that's how you say it. Begijnhof, I think is how you say it. So she is put in the Begijnhof, which is a unit of women who have also devoted their lives to service, not necessarily to Christ in the way of never getting married or never having children or anything like that, but have devoted their lives to service for helping others, which is in service to God in many ways. And the Begijnhof is a real historical truth. It's something I had never heard of. As someone who grew up Catholic, it is super interesting to learn some of these things that I have never ever heard of. But the Begijnhof is, like I said, a group of women who have devoted their lives to service. And one of the things that they truly believe is that you should be able to read the scripture. And this is super controversial. Accessibility to the Bible was a long fought battle. It truly was. And this book is a prime example as to why reading is and has always been political, because these women risked their lives to transcribe the Bible from Latin to Dutch, I believe is what they're reading, Dutch, so that common everyday people can read the Bible. And to that extent, there are still many people who can't read at all. And so this is just, helping the problem only a little bit during this time period. And what I find amazing about this book is the fact that Edwards was able to focus on how this is a book about accessibility, despite the fact that we're talking about, religiosity and Catholicism and everything. This is a book about accessibility, and it dives into the interplay of politics and religious when it comes to accessibility, because those are the most important things in people's lives at this moment in time in Belgium. But this is a book about people who want to be able to interpret the Bible and read it on their own, and there's a group of women who are willing to do that work for them. And so Elise, our main character, finds herself thrown into this universe, into this house of people who are actively disobeying the Catholic Church in order to do these translations, but she agrees with what they're doing. And so we have to see how that plays out with Elise and all of her new friends at the Begijnhof. Ultimately, this is, like I said, a book about accessibility, but there are a number of saintly miracles and things like that do take place in this book, because it is a book about being Catholic. And I must say that the author's note in this book kind of explained why the author went that direction. And so I think it's a super necessary book to explore the author's note at the end, because this author explains how she took a number of female martyrs and saints in the Catholic faith and combine them into one in Elise, so that we could kind of get a larger time span of the history of Catholicism in one character. And I think she does this extremely well. And so I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, it takes a second to get into, and that's okay. Keep pushing. I promise you can do it. But I think the religious portion of this book may make a lot of people shy away from it, but I don't think you should let it, because at the end of the day, despite hearing about mass and saints and martyrdom, what this book is about is accessibility, and we should be talking about that more, and how reading is and always has been political.